Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday night racing coverage on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Tonight, it's the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series, the start of the chase, the playoff racing action, as we finished up the regular season a week ago at Talladega, where Stephen Borbell got his win. But tonight, it's the start of the playoffs for the inaugural season of the BRB Butt Kicker Series. And race one, the drivers get prepared to go to Watkins Glen for the Autism Speaks 125 at the Glen. And the drivers are set and ready for 45 laps here at the left and right corners of Watkins Glen. This course going to be a fun one to watch overall. We still have our same ways that we go through our structures of races with our two-stage breaks before we finish out to figure out who's going to win here tonight. Drivers are just finishing up with practice as we will be going to qualifying here shortly. But first, I want to say thank you for joining with us. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth is going to be Trevor Earhart. Trevor, we're excited to have you with us. You're going to be a regular commentator for the rest of the season. Thanks for joining with us, and what a time, the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, what a time to come back just for the start of the playoffs, and at a really interesting track to have your start of the playoffs at Watkins Glen International. Nice little fast-flowing road course. I'm excited to be here and excited to see what these guys are going to put on for us today.
And tonight's going to be all about who can stop Gavin Rogers, looking at the ways that the pass road course went. The drivers did have a pass road course this season. It was race 6 when the drivers went to Circuit of the Americas. Gavin Rogers found himself in victory lane. He got the pole and led every lap that race. And the only driver that was close was Adam Buzzio. Tonight, the question is, who will stop that 77, or will he even be able to be stopped? As we head down a trackside and see these drivers getting ready for qualifying. Everyone's on their warm-up lap as they're getting themselves set up for lap number 1. These drivers will have 10 minutes to put down their fastest time. And what's interesting is some leagues only give 2 laps, some only give 1, but for tonight, these drivers have 3 laps to put down their fastest times, and Trevor really is going to give the advantage to the drivers that just took off early.
Yeah, with the 3 laps, I mean, you think about it, these next-gen cars, the tire heat, really important for these guys, so having that 3rd lap really could see a difference in qualifying times. And plus, really easy to make mistakes, Sam, at road courses, get that off-track penalty, so an extra lap for these guys to get that kind of get that insurance lap in for themselves.
Trying to get that extra lap in for themselves, and will that 3rd lap be the fastest one to watch out for, as we will tonight have our 10 championship contenders out on course to watch out for. We have last week's winner, Stephen Borbell, second in the points coming in to the chase. Gavin Rogers with the most points. He's got a 27-point advantage coming into tonight. But Borbell going with the interesting call, really going with the wiggles, trying to warm up those tires as he's setting up for this lap, not just tackling and going as fast as possible, trying to go with the different technique of warming up his tires.
Yeah, real different technique there, and actually going to tow it back to pit road, so not feeling comfortable there. Maybe got a black flag for a little bit too much tire warming shenanigans that are qualifying. We're going to have to reset and try again. Carl Puller going down the back straightaway into the bus stop, Sam. And this could be a spot all night long where we see drivers having issues trying to get this car turned in here and carry as much speed as they can.
And with qualifying, you have to stay on the racing surface. You go off into the grass. There's some parts where you go too far off the exit of the off-axis roads. You can find yourself getting yourself into trouble with a invalid lap time. So drivers got to be careful, but the first lap that will be placed down is a 111.323 from Gavin Rogers. And we take the times from qualifying, from practice. Already, Gavin Rogers, it would be placing himself in 3rd fastest off of practice, and that's just his first lap that he put down.
Yeah, really impressive. Ran a 1:10.6 in practice, so not too far off of what he ran. We'll have to see if he can pick up the pace on his 2nd lap, but looking good for himself to secure that pole there if that time is to be his quickest.
A lot of drama went filing through last week at Talladega. Some drivers getting intent wrecked, and one was Brandon Maddox. And Maddox getting some retaliation after being intent wrecked. And 33 somehow found himself with enough points to move on and take the final spot in the playoffs. And for the 33 machine, He's happy that he was able to get in, was able to stay ahead of Matthew Erickson, who was not able to get enough points to make it to the chase. But the driver of the 13 of Jeremy Clapper Newell has been removed from the series. I hate to see a driver getting a little bit too overzealous, but out of the race as the new fastest time, a 110.629. Trevor, I think that might be even faster than what Gavin Rogers just put down during practice.
Yeah, looking at his practice time, a 110.6.4. So picks up a 2 thousandths of a second there in qualifying. So Rogers definitely finding the pace around this road course. And right now, Patrick Hernandez is going to be currently second with a 111.6. So almost a whole second difference there between Gavin Rogers in second place currently in qualifying.
And we knew Gavin Rogers was going to be the favorite to watch out for with a road course. Every road course I could think of, even back in the former League of Wicked, when we watched a lot of these drivers race, Gavin Rogers was the favorite at almost every road course we went to. So this 77 is not surprising me with his speed, but a few other drivers hoping to find something extra here. Currently, Patrick Hernandez, second fastest. Adam Buzzio, third fastest. I thought we would see maybe a little bit more of a pickup from the 5 machine, but again, staying on track. It's going to be tough for these drivers to do, as some have been really struggling, and there's also a strugglesome spot. Top of the S's where the 33 lost control and gets that heavy damage.
Yeah, really easy. Top of the S as the car unloads itself, really easy to get out of shape, get into that outside wall. And these aren't the safer barriers. These Armco barriers are not very forgiving and can do a lot of damage to these race cars. And you saw it right there with Brandon and the 33 getting into that outside wall out of the S's.
As with qualifying time, some drivers already finished all 3 laps. Gavin Rogers, it was his second lap that will be his fastest. Again, a 1 minute, 10 second .629 was Gavin Rogers' fastest time. Adam Buzzio able to step up on his second lap, now only 7/10 off, as Evan Patinko goes a little bit off center through the bus stop, as the 96 will have to reset, and that was going to be his final lap. Not going to be fast enough to advance. 11th fastest is that 96 machine. Here's Rusty Sanchez, slowest driver currently on track with 115.9, hoping to advance with a little bit more speed if possible for the 34. Sanchez sends it down into the bus stop. Drivers always trying to find where they can carry the most speed through that section. But Trevor, this track, one of the fastest road course racetracks that a lot of the NASCAR circuit goes to. But man, is it technically so difficult to hit these fast times.
Yeah, it's fast, but it's also really technical, like you said, really technical to hit those fast times. And you got to drive this car around here on the limit of the grip that you have in doing so, and makes it really tough for these drivers. We've seen several mistakes throughout, especially down there into the bus stop, up through the S is really easy to get the car out of shape, especially attacking the bus stop, attacking those rumble strips. So we've seen it already, Sam. I think we're going to see it over the course of the race here tonight, as drivers just having issues trying to get max amount of speed out of these cars.
Carl Puller's last time as he crosses the line, hoping to advance on his lap, and it will be just a slight advancement of a couple of thousandths of a second for the 71. Going to be in 9th place currently. Other drivers that are on their last lap, going to be Stephen Borbell in the 2 machine, but everyone else seems to be done with qualifying, with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in qualifying currently. And as these laps are finishing up, the 2, his final time across the line. Will there be any movement from 6th place? Hoping to move up on the grid. Will not be able to. Did find a little bit of extra speed, but not able to get ahead of Matthew Corder. Instead, the 2 will stay in 6th place. So a lot of work for some of these drivers here tonight, but with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, everyone seems to be done with qualifying. And get an outer look of this track. You can see the boot on the right side. Drivers will not be on that side of the course, but tonight's race is going to be the first of 5 races here in the chase. These drivers have a lot more of hard tracks that they're going to be heading towards after tonight. Next week, the drivers head to Darlington. Then after that race, substitute out, as they had to move Talladega and Homestead around. It'll actually be Homestead, their 3rd race in the chase. Then the drivers will head to Auto Club and finishing out the season at Phoenix. Trevor, this season, these final tracks, a lot traditional of NASCAR tracks, but all with their own styles and difficulties they're going to have to deal with for these final 5 races.
Yeah, a lot of fun tracks coming up. Darlington, the Lady in Black, the track Too Tough to Tame, so that'll be a good one to watch. Homestead with the progressive banking and the ability to run multi-grooves, especially with the next-gen car. And then the classic Auto Club. I think that's everybody's favorite racetrack that we wish would still be around. Unfortunately, is going away. But and then finishing up at Phoenix, a tough little short track to crown a champion. Sam, I think these are going to be a great last handful of races for these guys.
It's going to be great, and it's all about the chase. It's not around elimination playoff racing that a lot of series are doing currently. It's all about who can collect the most amount of points throughout these 5 races that we're going to be running. And Gavin Rogers is going to be coming in top of the board with 47 points. That is a 27-point advantage over Stephen Borbell, who's second in points coming into tonight. Adam Buzzio going to be third in points. He's only got 14 points that he's working with. Carl Pooler with only 6 points. Evan Patinko with 5 points. Richard Wolsifer has 4. Going to be also seeing Jared Hughes coming with just 4 points himself. Stalling going to just have 1. Patrick Hernandez was starting out with 0 points into the playoffs, and Maddox as well with 0 points into the playoffs. So some drivers going to need a miracle if they want to get back into the fight for this chase playoff system. But throughout tonight and throughout the rest of this season, everyone knows they got to figure out how to topple Gavin Rogers. The big way to do so, try to get more stage bonus points than the 77. And tonight, these drivers will have 2 opportunities. Stages are going to be pretty quick. Lap 8 is going to be our first stage break. And stage 2 will be at the end of lap 18, and those will have full course yellows being thrown. So we race to the end after 45 laps. These drivers also will just have 1 fast repair and 5 extra sets of tires in pit road to work with. But we're expecting a lot of these drivers not to take tires. If they do, that's going to be an interesting call if they want to change things up, but expecting no one to take tires. But the drivers starting to grid up. It's time for us to get ready for the Autism Speaks 125 here at Watkins Glen. Starting at the top of the board, it's going to be the 77 of Gavin Rogers taking that pole position. Adam Buzzio going to be starting in second. Jared Hughes starting in third. Fourth gives it to Patrick Hernandez. Matthew Corder going to be starting in fifth. Sixth, we find the 2 machine, Steve Borbell, our winner from last week at Talladega. Dustin Stalling starting in 7th. 8th, we find the 56 of Richard Wolsifer. Carl Pooler is going to be starting in 9th. 10th is Jamie Plord, going to be in the 38 machine. 11th is the 33 of Brandon Maddox. Evan Patinko going to be starting in 12th. Nicholas Renner going to be starting in 13th. Zachary King going to be starting in 15th. And Rusty Sanchez finishing out our 15 drivers that will be racing here tonight. 45 laps in total, but that first stage is going to come up quick. Just 8 laps into this race, Trevor.
Yeah, real quick first stage. And like you said, just going to be maybe come down pit road, get some fuel, not going to have to worry about tires. With these next-gen cars, Sam, the tires just aren't that important. The fall-off isn't really there, and the detriment of having cold tires is really kind of outweighs the risk of getting fresh tires. So we'll see how that plays out for these guys. Maybe some guys take the gamble at stage 2. We're just going to have to wait and find out how it plays out, though.
8 corners in total. This track is at 2.45 miles in length. And as we've seen during qualifying, the top of the S is going to be a tough spot. The bus stop that these drivers are heading down towards going to be another tough spot for these drivers to make passes. But really, I think the good spots to make passes, Trevor, some say turn 1's the best spot. There's a couple of other spots to be made, but they're wrecking already under pacing. You don't expect to see that, as looks to be issues struggling for the likes of, trying to figure out who exactly is the driver that caught up in that mess, but some drivers in the back already issues, and it looks to be Carl Pooler in the 71. Massive front end damage, as he is going to be starting out this race with damage for himself, and looked to be a simple mistake of grazing the grass and running into Jamie Plord for the 71 machine.
It looks like he just clipped the grass there, Sam, trying to warm up the tires, and clips the 38 machine. So interesting start already before we even get under green flag conditions. Already have a little bit of contact further on in the back, and 2 cars that are going to have to deal with some damage.
Already dealing with damage, and how are you going to have to deal with that damage moving forward, especially for Carl Pooler, who's going to be one of our playoff contenders. Not the way he wanted this playoff run to start for himself, but for the drivers up front, your front row, going to be running the Autism Speaks machines for the Autism Speaks 125, hoping to get themselves in a 1-2, and potentially 3 if we can get that two up there, Morbell, but the green flag is out for the Autism Speaks 125. These drivers will roar down into turn number 1. Gavin Rogers with a great launch for himself. Going to be a little bit of side-by-side action for second place, but they sorted it out. It's now going to be side-by-side for third as they exit out of turn 1 and start the march up through the S's.
Heading up through the S's, got to be careful here on the cold tires. Top 3 single file out. A little bit of contact though further on back between the 4 of Matthew Crowder and the 2 there, Stephen Borbell, as they head up through the S's. Borbell looks like he's got a little bit of a better run. Top of the S's trying to clear that 4 machine, going to get him cleared there off the top of the S's. But here comes the 56 machine, and Richard Wilson with a great run for himself heading into the bus stop for the first time.
Down into the bus stop, the field trying to keep it all together. Also don't want to find yourself hitting that inside wall as they now drive around the carousel here at Watkins Glen. And the driver goes extremely wide. It's Richard Wolsifer, major issues for the 56. Overcorrects and sends himself right into the tire barriers at the carousel.
Yeah, Wolsifer there got a little loose, getting into the carousel, spins it around, or overcorrects it off into the tire barriers, and then Zachary King as well got a little loose into the carousel. He spins it around doing a quick 360 to 51 machine, but he gets it pointed straight. We're going to look back at here at what happened to Richard Wolsifer there, Sam.
Just a simple, felt like he was breaking loose, cranked the wheel, broke the wrong way, and here's what's going to happen to King. Pretty similar of just snapping loose, and these drivers trying to save their vehicle and just finding themselves out of shape. Almost the same exact spot, just drifted it out a little bit further was King and keeping it off of the wall at least.
I kept it off the wall. It's the combination cold brakes, cold tires, and not a lot of grip for these guys. Getting a little bit over aggressive maybe into the carousel, trying to gain as many spots as you can while everybody's stacked up. Just making a little bit of a mistake, but thankfully Sam got that quick stage break here at lap 8, so plenty of time for these guys to just kind of ride around, get it figured out, and then get stacked back up with everybody else.
Everyone just trying to hold on for dear life. Another driver who had a breaking loose moment out of the final corner was Nicholas Renner, but he keeps it off of the wall and continues driving forward. Up front, still Gavin Rogers, almost up to a second ahead of Adam Buzzio. Some other great battles. Here's going to be Brandon Maddox, Dustin Stalling, and Maddox poking the nose, trying to go into the second to last corner with a chance to make the pass, and Stalling gives up that position easily to the 33, who moves on forward.
I gave it up to there in turn 7. Had a good run there down into 8, but actually going to give that position up now to the 38 machine of Jamie Pluter. Sorry, I'll butcher some names here for a little bit until I get them figured out, but gives that spot up there heading into 8 and now down into 1. The 38 machine moves up a spot there, Sam.
Yeah, Pluter's going to be able to make that move for himself by the 10 of Stalling, and Gavin Rogers also put down his fastest lap so far, the first 2 laps of the race. As the rest of the field trying to get themselves sorted out, and you also could see the wounded 71 of Carl Pooler, who is dealing with that damaged front bumper again. Got into the incident for the 71 before they even took the green, and is going to have to limp that machine around. These drivers do have a fast repair to work with here tonight, so they are going to be able to, if you get any damage that you need to get repaired, you can manually get it repaired, or you got your safety net of using your fast repair. So not expecting a lot of these drivers to call it a night early, but you certainly don't want to use your fast repair immediately here tonight.
No, not ideal having to use it probably at lap 8 for Carl Pooler to get that damage fixed. So not ideal for him, but at least you do have that safety blanket to know that, hey, I just got to limp it around here for a couple more laps before I can come in and get that fixed. But just one of those unfortunate things, Sam, trying to get some heat in the tires and just make a little bit of a mistake and it could kind of cost you a lot there at the beginning of the race.
Certainly can, as another fast lap put down for the 77. Take a look at the weather coming into tonight. Ambient air temperatures, only 68 degrees. That's a nice temp for these drivers to be working with. But that track temp up to 94, dropping to 93. Low wind is perfect racing for these drivers, especially if they're looking to build heat in quickly. A lot of these drivers are going to be happy that they are in the spot that they're in right now with the way this track temp is looking and just the air in general for this field.
Yeah, nice cool air temp, nice relatively cool track temp, 90, 94, 95, somewhere in there, and it's going to be not too hot, not too cold for these tires to really get themselves up to optimal temperature and give these guys the grip that they need to go out and try to run the fastest laps that they can to get away from them.
Set up for these passes as taking a look at this battle for 7th place. Brandon Maddox, Jamie Plord, which you got to remember, Plord was involved with that incident with Carl Pooler before we even took the green, the 38, even with some slight side pod damage. is running well for the 38 machine as he's trying to close in, make a couple of more passes. Florig's made 2 moves so far at the start of this race, up 2 positions. Maddox is up 4 spots, and that 33 is our biggest mover so far. Here's the closest battle, though, on track. Hop on board the hood of Stephen Borbell in the 2 machine, second in points, as he's trying to run up and catch up to Patrick Hernandez in the 91 machine.
Yeah, Hernandez has had a couple of moments down through the bus stop over the last couple of laps. Lost a little bit of time to Jared Hughes in front of him, and now Gate losing a little bit of time to Borbell here. And Borbell again closes right up through the bus stop. You see a little bit of unsettledness there in the 91 machine, right on his rear bumper going to the carousel is going to be that 2. This is where he's going to try to set up that pass again, gets to the rear bumper. Sam just can't quite get the run off the corner that he needed. But with the 91 going wide, that opens the door for the 2 machine.
And these 2 drivers, Stephen Borbell and Patrick Hernandez, back at that race 6 at the Circuit of the Americas, they were running for 4th place even back then during that course, and found themselves finishing within 0.3 of one another. And the winner of that duel went to the 2 machine of Stephen Borbell, Patrick Hernandez being the leader at this moment in time as the laps are ticking away. 6 laps in the books. We're just 3 laps away, though, from stage 1 being over, and our top 10 drivers will find themselves with bonus points as Richard Wolsifer, he's having his own slight duel further back in the pack as himself and Zachary King are battling for 14th place.
Yeah, it's going to be the battle for these guys getting back up through the field after their off-track excursions there on lap 1. Wolsifer trying to close in on that 51 machine. This is one of those great passing zones standing down here in the turn number 1 for that 56.
And other great battles that are happening on track is the battle for 8th place, Jimmy Plord. Dustin Stalling kind of gave up those positions, trying to fight back to maybe take a couple of these spots back if possible. It's the 10, also another driver that ran pretty well during that Circuit of the Americas, finished in 6th place. He was around a half a second away from being near Patrick Hernandez during that race. Here tonight, taking a little bit of a different approach, but you know, Trevor, the different road courses, they're so different from one another, and different styles that drivers enjoy, but all the tactics and stylings of having to downshift, hit your marks, all these drivers know it's so important at each road course we go to.
Yeah, it's really important to figure out, you know, how to set the car up for braking, what the car likes brake bias wise from road course to road course. You go from Coda, which is a really technical track built for the F1 cars, to here, which is a really fast flowing racetrack. So you got to figure out, you know, what you take from Coda is going to be, what you learn at Coda is going to be a little bit different than what you apply here. You know, you see some of these guys not feeling maybe as comfortable here as they were at Coda.
And also an interesting thing for these drivers is incident points. There is no disqualification for having too many incident points, so these drivers can use slight over, you know, going off into the grass, maybe slight overcorrections and going a little bit overextended mode. These drivers willing to use every little bit and part of this track as Patrick Hernandez goes wide, trying to keep the speed as they drag race down into turn number 7. But Borbell got too good of a launch. The 2 slots himself in 4th, and now going to make the charge to run down Jared Hughes in the 98 machine.
Yeah, they're really good run there out of the carousel. The 91 of Hernandez trying to go wide there out of the carousel, trying to keep the momentum up. But the 2 with just a great launch gets clear of him going down into 7. Now going to set his sights on Hughes up there in front of him, but Hernandez not going to let him go easily there. Had a little bit of a look down into 1, but just going to follow him up here through the S's.
Up through the S's. This is where if you can keep it close, get the drafting help, you might get a spot. Or you can go for an aggressive pass before the bus stop, but you need to stay close to one another. One driver, though, that's not really that close, but is trying his best. We're seeing the 5 of Adam Buzzio trying to run down his teammate Gavin Rogers, but each lap, Rogers pulls away. And talking about drivers utilizing the track, Adam Buzzio is one of those. Buzzio has yet to put down a clean lap yet. He has used every bit of this track trying to find a way to catch up to Gavin Rogers, and it just isn't enough, even with all the overextensions he's using.
That's the nice thing about road course racing. As long as you don't have to worry about, as long as you don't get one of those slowdown penalties, it's fine to use the track limits to your advantage to try to gain some speed. But right now for Buzzio, trying to use that as the cautions out for the stage, but Sam Buzzio trying to use that to his advantage, not catching up to his teammate there.
Stage yellow is out, and your top 10 drivers are lined up where they're at right now. Stage 1, give the win to Gavin Rogers in the 77 for himself. Adam Buzzio going to come away with second. Jared Hughes, third. Stephen Corbell, fourth. Fifth goes to Patrick Hernandez. Matthew Corder going to be in sixth. Seventh is Brandon Maddox. James Lord, eighth. Ninth is Justin Stalling. And finishing out our top 10, congratulations to Carl Puller. Even with heavy damage, he's able to get at least one bonus point for himself. As for us up in the booth, we will step away. When we come back, we'll talk to our stage winner, Gavin Rogers, get his thoughts so far in the first 8 laps ran here at the Glen for the Autistic Speaks. 125 here this evening for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. The playoffs underway. We'll be back for more racing after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. If you're just joining us, we just got finished up with stage 1 of 3 here tonight for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series, the first race of the chase, playoff racing action here at the Glen for the Autism Speaks 125. My name is Sam Dyer. With me up in the booth is Trevor Earhart. Running productions in the background is Robert Moyer Jr. I want to say thank you to Sundance Pizza, family-owned pizza in Arizona, Trivia, Ideal Lease, as well as Butt Kicker for being the amazing sponsors that help out here for the Butt Kicker Cup Series. These drivers made an interesting call. Half the field came into pit road for tires and also get some damage repair. The other half of the field staying out, not deciding to hit pit road. And Trevor, I'm not surprised by those that stayed out. Those that decided to take pit road stop, that's what's interesting.
Yes, I mean, the Carl Puller we expected to see down pit road the 38 we expected to see down pit road to get their damage fixed after the pace lap incident. But Sam, some drivers are electing to take 4 tires, which is an interesting call there with how kind of detrimental we've seen fresh tires be at these road courses. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen to those drivers that decided to take tires here at the stage break.
Also looked to be a little bit of a technical issue for Adam Buzzio. He had to stop at the bus stop there. He was the driver that just came to a complete halt. Should be able to move back up into second place, but some of these drivers wanted to make sure they don't get that passing under yellow penalty for the 5 stopping, as Adam Buzzio will make the mad dash to get by this field and get themselves ready. Also, Trevor, we kind of forgot about it last week because for the cautions, sometimes we forget about it, but they have a choose cone rule. They're going to be choosing what lane they decide to be in on this restart, as they're going high and low, figuring out where they want to go, and a lot of drivers going to be going to that right side and not the left.
Yeah, something you don't see in a lot of leagues, and I'm thankfully in a league that does a choose cone. Really, kind of a fun idea, neat idea that gives these drivers some options here on the restarts to maybe advance their position and set themselves up for you know, some success here on the restarts. But that inside line going to be the preferred line, and where we saw a lot of drivers decide to go there, Sam.
And as these drivers are lined up and ready to go, let's see if we can queue up our leader at this current time and see if we can talk to our stage winner, Gavin Rogers in the 77. It's Sam and Trevor up the booth. You got us?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Well, Gavin, you showed your dominance once again at the road courses, getting the pole. You've led every lap so far here tonight. How's that car feeling here at the Glen?
It's feeling great for us right now. You know, we got almost all the team up in the top 3. Steven's still working his way up here from the not so great but not too bad qualifying effort. But we're really trying to get that Freaky Fast Broadcast Grand Slam. That's the goal tonight. You know, I really think it's possible. I feel good here at Watkins Glen. I finally ended that drought of losing here after being the fastest car a while ago, and I think I can hopefully keep that going and pull off a Grand Slam tonight.
Well, Gavin, we saw a couple cars decide to take tires there at the stage break. I mean, we know the next gen car not a big fan of fresh tires at road courses. Is that going to be a spot at all at the second stage, or are you just going to stay on the same tires you started with?
I think that first stage was too early to take tires. I think the tires are still pretty fresh. I just need to bring the temps down. They'll still probably be very similar to the beginning of that run. I think we still need to take tires at the end of this stage just to have those fresh tires on for that much longer run.
Well, Gavin, we'll send you back to your team, but good luck on this restart and good luck on this stage.
Appreciate you guys.
As Steven Borbell, Gavin's teammate, able to get the Freaky Fast Broadcasting Grand Slam. That's when you find yourself getting the pole time and then winning each stage and winning the race at the end of the day. Gavin Rogers has been close many a times, but always fell short when it came to victories after winning all 2 stages. But tonight, very good chance for the 77 as we're back to green flag racing down into turn number 1. It's the teammates of Adam Buzzio, Gavin Rogers, and Rogers with a better run for himself. Everyone else going to be still scattering 2 by 2. A little bit of issues though deeper in the field. Driver going to get sideways. That's going to be Zachary King who gets sideways for himself. The rest of the field make the climb up through the S's as they prepare for the bus stop at the top of the hill.
Yeah, King again, a little bit of an issue there on the cold tire, but everybody at the front of the field single filed out. Looks like single filed out through the whole field. A little bit of a look from the 91 there of Hernandez to the inside of the 4 machine going into the bus stop, but not going to have the momentum. But as I say, that Crowder gets a little bit sideways, gets into the grass just a tad bit, and that's going to open the door for the 91 and the 55 to get by.
Now as drivers going to be trying their best to exit out of the corner, but Adam Buzzio, not the strongest bus stop there, as we got rolling again in trouble deeper in the field though. It's going to be the 10 machine of Dustin Stallin, gets spun around for himself, and Stalling, luckily no other drivers hit him, but he just snapped loose after the carousel for himself.
Yeah, just lost it there out of the carousel there, and thankfully in front of traffic nobody hits him as we get a little replay here of what happened to him. Trying to get to the inside there, I believe in the 56 of Wolsifer, Sam, and just try to get back on the power and just lost the rear end there.
Slip and slide goes the 10 and losing all its time and momentum instead of driving up front. And I'm curious if that could be a factor of cold tires, part of the group of drivers that decided to top off with fuel tires on this stage, and now going to have to resettle back in and move forward as a driver that's done a great job recovering, Nicholas Renner. A driver that came into pit road, just took fuel, was the 55, a little bit of damage repair, and now being challenged by Brandon Maddox, who also found himself taking tires in the 33.
Yeah, not a bad call, just taking fuel to try to make it, last as long as you can there. But A little bit wide there through the carousel. Here comes the 33 of Maddox trying to get to the inside. You see the wide line trying to keep his momentum up. A little bit of a wiggle, and that's going to allow the 33 Sam to have a run here going down into turn number 7.
Great save by Renner there in the 55, but gonna see how is the Maddox on the outside going to be able to make this pass. Not going to be in the better positioning just yet. Hard braking in the final bend. Renner keeps it close, but too wide is the 55, and going to be seeing Maddox able to keep the lead for now, but huge run and keeping the momentum goes to Renner. The driver that wants to take the most of this advantage, though, gonna be Quarter in the 4 machine, but a little bit of a slip and slide for all these drivers, taking it wide. It's the 55 of Renner, but that's a little bit too far. He might be penalized for that as he went so far out. Might be a black flag, give up speed for the 55 of Renner there.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna have that slowdown penalty, and that's kind of one of the weird areas of the racetrack down there in turn 1. If you get too wide out there, it's gonna give you that slowdown penalty, so he's gonna have to kind of slow down here a little bit, give some time back, but going into the bus stop almost gets into the back of the 4 machine, and Renner, Sam, he's trying to be aggressive, just a little bit out of control there into the bus stop, but thankfully no contact made.
And able to make the advantage for the 55 stick. Yes, he went through the bus stop, not as clean as he hoped, but he went slow enough for the 55 machine that he was able to actually utilize the yield penalty during that pass, and able to continue on with these battles for 8th place. Other drivers that are trying to recover, driver that's already used his fast repair, that's the 71 of Carl Pooler, who's already used his fast repair, and the 38 of Jamie Plord. They're both trying to make their march forward to get into the top 10. Carl Pooler has done so. But who else might be able to get that spot? I take that back. Actually, it was the 55 of Nicholas Renner that used his fast repair. Carl Pooler is still yet to use his fast repair. Very interesting, as Renner going to have big issues off of turn number 1 for the 55 machine.
Yeah, just lost it there to turn number 1, gets to the spins it to the inside wall, makes heavy contact there, and it looks like a toe for that 55 machine. So situation goes from bad to worse for Nicholas Renner after losing a couple of positions. Sam, a little spin there, is going to see him towing back to pit road.
And just like that, finding himself out of this run is going to be the 55 Renner, but we keep our sights on this battle. It's been a good one. Stephen Borbell right on the back bumper of Jared Hughes in the 98 machine, and Hughes has been doing a good job so far. Borbell right on the back bumper, but losing touch off the exit of the carousel, has to rebound all this speed and time. And for the 2 machine, trying to get himself in line with his teammates of the Next Level Motorsports teammates that really dominated Talladega last week, trying to get themselves online for a 1-2-3 finish, if possible, here tonight, as the 55 of Nicholas Renner has called it a night. We're down to just 14 drivers out on track.
Yeah, Renner calling it a night there. Borbell trying to make that pass for 30. Like you said, get in line with his teammates, but right back here, the battle between Carl Puller and Jamie Plurd here, Sam, heating up as they head up the S's. This has been a battle that's kind of been brewing for the last couple of laps. They've been nose to tail, just neither Plurd hasn't been able to get a run there on that 71 machine fight.
You talk about rivalries being built the week prior. You don't think that it's between the starting grid and going green that you build a rivalry of having contact. And that's exactly what happened between these two, as Carl Pooler got in the grass while they were under the formation lap and spun himself out, T-bone the 38, and now going to go too wide, too high, and gives Jamie Plord the chance in the space to move up to 9th position. And Carl Pooler trying to still reassess where he's feeling this speed at. Another driver reassessing is going to be the 96 of Evan Patinko. With Patinko trying to close in on this gap ahead, where will be able to place himself, as you always love seeing a battle ahead. It allows you to close in on that group of drivers that you might be able to pass.
That's your favorite thing to see at a road course. The drivers in front of you battling it out, slowing each other down on corner exit, corner entry, and that's allowed Evan to close in on these two for 9th and 10th. A little bit of a lockup from the 96 into turn 1 is going to hurt his momentum here. Sam going up through the S's.
And this is going to be one of the last chances to make some passes if you're Evan Patinko, because we are on lap 18. This is the end of stage 2. Only the top 10 drivers find themselves getting stage points and it's when Gavin Rogers crosses the line, and it looks to be trouble for drivers up ahead. It's going to be Hughes, Stephen Borbell. They make contact through the S's. Borbell comes back in front of the 33 of Maddox, and now it's going to be issues between those two drivers as everyone's trying to scatter around. The 98 went from confidently up in third, now outside of the top 10 down to 12 as Borbell keeps himself at least in sixth position. But here's what made the contact right before the stage is over. Try to go with the pass on the outside, and just not enough space in between, and Borbell shoving Hughes into that inside barrier, and gonna be a massive collision for Hughes, who was in third all race long, and now gonna have to make the march through the field as our stage is over. Gavin Rogers going to take the stage win. Adam Buzzio second, Patrick Hernandez in third, fourth is Richard Wolsifer, Brandon Maddox grabs fifth, Stephen Borbell sixth, seventh goes to Matthew Quarter, Jamie Plord eighth, ninth is Carl Pooler, and Evan Patinko, because of that wreck, is able to take the 10th place points, and we'll get that one bonus point after the second stage is over.
I just a little bit, I think, over aggression there from Borbell. Just turned in a little bit too early there. Caught the 98 of Hughes, sent him to the inside wall, and Sam, just like that, you go from battling from for third all the way back to sixth, and all the way down to that of 12th for Jared, and that's going to be a big comeback for that 98 machine to get back up to the front.
That will require damage for either driver, but you know they're going to be spending some time getting those repairs done, as we will be taking our second commercial break of the evening. When we come back, it's pit stops. Who will be taking tires, who will not, and the fuel we know will be taken here tonight. Thank you for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You're watching the Autism Speaks 125 of the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. The chase, the playoffs. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series playoff racing action. It's the first race of 5 for the chase. All about who can get the most points through the chase, 5 races, and you find yourself with the championship. Right now, Gavin Rogers building up the gap as he's been the dominator. He's won stage 1, he's won stage 2, he even got the pole. All he needs to do to get Freaky Fast Grand Slam is win here tonight, but he will not be the starting driver. Give it to the 38 of Jamie Plord, going with the risky call. For some might think it's risky, others might think it's smart, not taking tires, just taking fuel. I'm liking the call. Trevor, I think you're liking the call. The rest of the field might be a little confused because everyone else taking 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah, I mean, the theme's always been don't take tires, but if the whole field takes tires, it doesn't necessarily hurt you. But Jamie decided to take no tires, just the fuel, so we'll have to see how this 38 machine fires off here on the restart. But I like the call, Sam. I like the aggression there. Got himself some track position, but he's got some fast drivers behind him that he's going to have to try to hold off.
And having a different driver as the control vehicle always adds a different factor. I think of some other leagues that we've covered here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. There's always the chance of a wreck, a mistake. We've already seen some contact between Jared Hughes and the 2 of Stephen Morbell. Both drivers going to be inside of the top 5. How will they continue to race one another? But we are ready to take you to the end. Who will be winning here tonight for the Autism Speaks 125? There's no more stage racing. It's all about victory lane. A couple of drivers having a blink, but up front, it's all Jamie Plord as we get the green flag and the 38 with a great launch. But it looks like the 77 got the better one down into turn number 1.
Yeah, got the better launch. Jamie not electing to take that preferred line on the inside there. On this restart, you're going to give up first, going to give up second here to the 5 of Buzzio. We're going to fall in 3rd position here before we ever get up into the first part of the S's, Sam.
Major trouble for the 91 of Patrick Hernandez, overcorrected after going over the rumble strips and going to cost them over 5 positions. Falls back to 11th, but our top 5 all going to be in line with one another within a second. Down into the bus stop, it's Gavin Rogers, Adam Buzzio. Steven, oh boy, Buzzio completely misses the bus stop as he'll have to cut through the grass. Same for going to be for Plord in the 38, given a chance for the 2 Borbell to work the outside groove, and just a simple mistake costing a few drivers some major time, and Gavin Rogers exactly where he wants to be, pulling away.
Yeah, pulling away there is Buzzio and Pluter. They're going to have to serve a little bit of a slowdown, and for the 38, a little bit loose there on the exit of 7. That's going to allow Borbell now to close in on that 38 machine. But those 2, the 5 and 38, Sam, almost followed identical pass there through the bus stop that last lap by.
And able to continue to lead forward as Zachary King, another big slip up after turn 7. The battle going on for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. On top of one another, it's going to be Jared Hughes trying to make it work on the outside, down in the S's. And now Richard Wolsifer poking the nose, and Hughes gets pushed a little bit too far wide. Got spooked with the 56 number, bumper being stuck there. And in an instant, Jared Hughes continues to fall backwards. It has just been a meltdown after being almost passed by the 2 in their contact right at the end of stage 2.
Yeah, for Hughes, took 2 tires there, I believe, Sam, on that pit stop there to try to get some of that track position back. And right there, you know, got a little bit spooked there by the 56 of Wolsifer, had to give that spot up. But I mean, we know he's got speed. He's been running in 3rd all race long. The question is now, can he work his way through traffic? That's going to be the question for that 98 machine.
Making passes have been difficult for majority of the 9th driver who's made the biggest move so far. As Jamie Plord up 6 positions. Steven Borbell's up 3. His 5th place runner, Richard Wolsifer, is also up 3, and Brandon Maddox has been able to move up 4. Everyone else has lost positions throughout tonight's race. As driver had to go into pit road for extensive damage repair. Zachary King might be calling it a night. Patrick Hernandez, though, runs very slow after a slip-up out of our final corner and falls from 9th all the way back to 12th for the 91.
Tough break there for Hernandez. Been running inside the top 10 pretty much, I think, all race long, Sam, and that little mistake going to knock him outside the top 10. A lot of work for him to do to try to get back up into the top 10 for himself as we go on board, or as we look at the 4 machines here of Matthew Coder trying to work his way up to the 71 air power puller.
As going to be seeing how is Corder going to be able to make this move for the 4. Also going to be having Evan Patinko right behind them in the 96 as they head through the bus stop. Much cleaner run. Going to be given to the 4 machine. Stays low off that final rumble strip. Able to poke the nose underneath Carl Pooler, and Pooler just too far to the outside, even with using the extra runoff space. Keeps his foot in the throttle and allows him to drag race his way down into turn number 7. They continue to stay side by side, but out braking goes the fourth quarter, and Quarter's going to go too wide. Pooler's got the space to try to go down low, but Quarter continues to keep his nose just slightly ahead. Using the off-axis road is really helping out some of these drivers on keeping position, and Quarter stands strong in front of Carl Pooler.
Yeah, Quarter doing a great job after that little mistake holding off the 71 machine and keeping him at bay and using that access road to his advantage to keep the 71 behind him, but that allowed the 96 machine of Evan to close in on them, heading up through the S's, and Fuller going to try to set him up here potentially for maybe a move down into the bus stop.
How do you want to set up these final couple of bends? 20 laps to go here tonight, as we've already finished stage 1 and 2, both being won by Gavin Rogers. The rest of the field trying to figure out how do you want to slot yourself in. We've got a couple of packs. We got 2 very close battles that are going on. We got the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th on top of one another, as well as the battle for 9th place with Porter and Pooler and Patico. But this is the closest battle on track between Jamie Floyd, Richard Wolsifer. Wolsifer trying to close in a gap here in this 56 machine. We've been watching him grow as a driver. Originally came back to iRacing over a year and a half ago. And for Richard Wolsifer, he was racing the WSSR series. You saw him move over to the Wicked Racing League and then carry over here to the BRB, and the growth has been incredible to see. Richard getting faster each and every season that he runs in a different car, and was able to get his first win this season at Eldora in the middle of the season for himself back at race 9. And right now, trying to go for a 4th place run is Richard Wolsifer as he's trying to challenge Jamie Plord. And Plord, even with that advantage of not taking a set of tires, Richard Wolsifer looking to be a little bit faster here in the 56 is trying to figure out where to slot himself for this passing maneuver.
Yeah, right now Wolsifer looks a little bit more comfortable with the car, or it just doesn't look like he might not have the grip compared to everybody on the fresh tires, which is a little bit strange to see. But Wolsifer right there with a little bit of a slide through the second half of the bus stop, going to lose a little bit of time to the 38, and it's going to allow Jared Hughes in the 98 to kind of close in on this battle and make it a 3-car battle here as they exit turn 6, heading to turn 7.
Looking at the last lap and the lap times that these drivers have been putting down, Lord and Richard Wolsifer has been running pretty identical of a 1 minute 12 second .2 lap times, while Jared Hughes is still running in the 1 minute 11 second window, which now be placing Hughes around our top 3 on pace. So we'll see if there could be any more movement or passes. But as we ride along with Richard Wolsifer, you can see in the top right mirror of Hughes trying to close in, and right in front is Plord is rolling over those rumble strips. Scary spot to be, as already a few drivers have found themselves overcorrecting and ending their race just by that small mistake of going over the rumble strips wrong.
Yeah, you can just see how it upsets the car, and just kind of how upset the car always is at all times around this racetrack with the amount of speed you're carrying and trying to carry. You're just working the wheel left and right, especially over these rumble strips. It unloads the rear end and gets the car kicked out sideways, and Wolfsburg doing a great job catching it there as they exited turn number 1. But under pressure here from the 98 of Jared Hughes, as Hughes starting to try to work his way back up toward the front of this field.
Hughes is trying to close in quickly here on the 56, utilizing the draft, trying to follow in line. Right now it is doing a great job as Hughes trying to again recover. Was running in 3rd before he got into that contact with Stephen Barbell, come to the end of stage 2, and been trying different strategies to get track position back. At this moment, staying in line. That was probably the best launch he's had, but is he close enough for Hughes to set up for a pass? We'll lose another driver here tonight as Zachary King has parked it, put in the garage. We're down to 13 drivers now on course and on the lead lap, as Nicholas Renner and Zachary King have called it an evening so far. We look at the weather. Track temp has cooled off. It was up to 95 degrees was the track temp. It's now fallen to 87 degrees. At air temp also staying pretty stable, but you just saw it get very gray. The cloud coverage, it might get even colder on the track here.
Yeah, clouds starting to roll in, track's going to cool down. Give these tires a little bit more grip, especially for the guys like the 38 there of Jamie. With those older tires, Sam, with the track cooling down, that's going to keep the tire temps for him down and maybe give him a little bit of extra life in those tires compared to everybody else that's already taken a set there at that second stage spot.
Continuing to run forward as much as they can. Patrick Hernandez having another slip up and losing even more positions, back to 12th now is the 91, who at one moment all the way back was up to 5th, now back to 12th, but these cloud coverage starting to make visibility a little bit harder for these drivers as they're going through these final 16 laps of this race, and the track getting harder and harder to see. But I mean, Trevor, this is something that these drivers know they've got to deal with, is the fact that this track, it's going to ebb and flow, and when is the cloud coverage going to move away and they're going to get that sunshine back? As you can see it visibly, it is so much darker now because of the cloud coverage.
Almost looks like it might rain here, Sam, with the way it's darkening up for these drivers. But yeah, it's just, you know, one of those things about racing. You got to adjust as the weather adjusts. And right now, it's cooler temps, going to be a little bit quicker times, and these guys are going to be able to push a little bit harder. But with that comes the added risk of making that little mistake. You already know how on edge these guys are, and one little slip up in these cars could cause disaster. And right now, the driver really on edge is that 56 machine of Richard Wilson. Saying he's almost drifting it almost out of every corner as the 98 takes a little bit of a look into 7. Wilson a little loose on braking, and just like that, he's going to give that position up.
Almost like you saw that rear end bobble. It was almost like he misshifted just a little bit. As the sunshine roars back into our eyes, we can finally see the track clearly as we now are with 15 laps to go. Richard Wilson losing touch, and how will those tires ebb and flow? I mean, this is something that we talk about a lot on Thursday nights with myself and Zach Hull with our Shoney's Doghouse Cup series as they run the next gens as well, is the tire temps. Tire temps are always what we're talking about, of how is that influencing these drivers. You slide once, it feels like it takes you 2 to 3 laps when you're at a traditional oval to try to maybe cool off those tires. It might even take longer than that, but at a road course when you're going left and right, I mean, Trevor, it feels like it's almost impossible to try to cool off these tires.
Yeah, you never feel comfortable after a big slide at a road course. It takes a very long time to get those tire temps back down. And it's one of the things with the next gen cars. It's not so much the tire wear, it's the tire temps, especially on the rears, that make it really uncomfortable for Wilsifer. We've seen it the last couple of laps with how much he's been sliding, just how offset that car's gotten. As I believe we moved up here to the 2 machine of Borbell, who's comfortably in 3rd here. Sam just trying to run down his teammate Adam Buzzio in the 5, but just kind of in a world of his own there.
Feeling comfortable are these next level motorsports drivers. Your top 3, Gavin Rogers, Adam Buzzio, and Steven Borbell, continuing to dominate here tonight as they continue to run forward. They're pretty spaced out and gapped out. I mean, Gavin Rogers up 7.7 seconds away from one another, but this is what 3/10 away from one another looks like. It's right on board with Dustin Stalling, trying to catch up to Brandon Maddox. This is the battle for 7th place on track. The 10, what a run through that section of the S's, keeping his foot in the throttle and right on the back bumper, taking to the outside. Will Maddox try to block and defend? No, they'll stay side by side and not going to be risking the same move that we saw Borbell do. Instead backs out in. I mean, Trevor, that's one of those calls where you had such a major run. Maybe you take it next time. You risk going too wide on the entry of the bus stop.
Yeah, it'd be a risky move there. Not the preferred line to make a pass, but if you're willing to try to stick it around the outside, it turns into the inside for that little part of the bus stop. So a potential move to be made there from Stallings, but thinking better of it, having seen what happened earlier. But with that little lift that he had to do and staying behind this 33 machine of Maddox, it's allowed the 4 machine of Matthew to close in on this battle as they exit turn number 8, heading down the front straightaway.
These 3 drivers running on board with the middle driver. There are 3 within 3/10 going down into turn number 1. Stalling did not get the run that he was hoping for down into turn 1. The hard right-hander, and there's the mistake. Maddox gets pushed wide by Stalling. Stalling gives a slight tap. They continue to fight forward, but also going to be seeing the 4 of quarter able to blast on by. Seeing both drivers have mistakes, and now Carl Pooler about to get into the mix. We got 4 drivers on top of one another for 7th place, and this is the best battle on track currently.
A great little battle as they head into the bus stop. Pooler trying to close in and hoping these 3 keep the battle with one another. And right now, it kind of seems like Maddox, the engine of this train right now, is just kind of backing the 4 and the 10 up into the 71. Porter trying to find a way past. We've already seen Stallings trying to make a move with it and get kind of caught out there. when they were in turn number 1, but right now ahead of turn number 6 out of the carousel. Here comes a 4 with a great run down the backstretch, heading into 7. Going to try to look for a pass on the outside.
Slight contact down into 7. Going to be wiggling to 4 to the outside groove, and they'll take it extremely wide to give Stalin a chance to make the pass into turn number 8. Quarter continues to throttle his way forward, almost using each other's doors up as the 4 has to get away from those water barrels off the pit entry, and just in a blink of an eye, went from thinking about making a pass for 7th to falling to 10th is the 4 of quarter.
It's just that easy. A little bit of a slide out of the final corner. Almost got into the pit barrels. Going to lose 1 position, possibly 2, but able to hold off the 71 of Poulter. Now got to regroup and try to chase down the 10 and the 33 again as they head up through the S's for another lap.
Up through the S's, Brandon Maddox continues to hold off and defend for now for that 7th place position. Started in 11th, up 4 spots, and after the way last week's race ended, was disqualified after the shenanigans between this 33 and the 13 of Clapper Newell, who Clapper Newell again removed from the league after too many times of just being involved in too many incidences for first, and then also just being kind of a hindrance to the league. The 13 removed, but the 33 luckily had enough points to keep himself in the playoffs and in the chase, taking that final spot. And now a lot of these drivers fighting all around on who can keep each position. But with 11 laps to go, we're going to take our final commercial break of the night. When we come back, we take you to the finish. Will Gavin Rogers be able to finish this win, or will he find trouble with lap traffic? We'll be back right after this to give you the conclusion of the Autism Speaks 125 in just a few moments.
They're 5 wide behind the pit. Oh my, the 5 wide here. This ain't gonna work. They make it last. Bumping and banging to the end. They're beating banging for the lead. Sora still with the shot here, coming off a 4. Look at him. That's it.
It's
Bottom line, here it comes.
Oh,
I know Carter gets wrecked. It's going to be that Nick Crumford. The 74 gets through somehow, and they just completely demolish one another. Trying to drive it down low, drifting up, trying to be the stealer. Here he comes. Cedric Hunter. He does it. He steals it.
But he somehow drove it into the corner to wreck
Oh,
it.
they wrecked! They wrecked each other! The top 2 bounced into one another, just too much of side drifting off of, and they gotta be careful. Oh no, the 4 demolishes in the 28. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We got less than 10 laps to go, and your closest battle currently on track is for 10th place. You got Evan Patinko, Patrick Hernandez battling with one another as you are watching the first race of the chase for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series of 5. As the rest of this race continues on, it's been the Gavin Rogers Show. He is up to 10 seconds ahead of Adam Buzzio. Patrick Hernandez trying to go on a recovery run, and same for Patinko. Both drivers trying to march into the top 10. Patinko lucked into a top 10 finish at the end of stage 2, but he's got to fight this go around with 8 laps to go. My name is Sam Dyer. I've got Trevor Earhart with me, as well as Robert Moore, your Junior Run Productions in the background, and Hernandez to the inside into the bus stop. First chance to really make a pass into the bus stop. They'll stay side by side. They're going to touch, contact Hernandez into the wall. See you later, 91. Patinko will move forward. Hernandez falls apart. And just like that, both drivers have to come to a halt as they both have yielding penalties. But Patinko tried his best, but hey, going side by side into the bus stop, Trevor, we've seen it not work, not just once, but now twice.
Yeah, it hasn't worked twice now, but Patinko did a great job holding his own there and kind of holding his line. And for Hernandez, got into the door there, got a little loose, but did a great job of keeping it out of the inside wall. Just lost a lot of time and now has to regather that and try to run back down the 96 machine here for that 10th position if he wants to get it, but running out of laps here, Sam, to do so.
Now going to be 7 laps to go for Gavin Rogers to take victory here tonight, unless he finds trouble with lap traffic. And all lap traffic's been getting out of the way for the 77. It's been 0 worries right now. Adam Buzzio going to be over 10.5 seconds back from his teammate. Then also going to be Stephen Morbell in 3rd place. Really no troubles that he's worrying about. But another driver out of trouble, it's going to be Matthew Corder, who has to take a tow and just calling it a night for the 4 machine. We're down to 12, and this is how Corder going to call it a night for himself as he was going off the exit of the carousel and just loops it around, drifts, keeps his foot in the throttle, says, you know what, let's just call it a day. I'm just going to park it, tow it, and exit out of the race.
Yeah, for Corder there. I mean, he was up. We saw him up there before we went to that commercial break doing battle with Dustin Stallings, Brandon Maddox, Carl Puller, and then Sam, while we were under commercial going up through the S's, got into the outside wall, broke a toe link, had to pit, and right there just trying to get a little bit much there, maybe on some fresh tires in the carousel, spins it out, calls it a night for himself. But unfortunate for Corder there, who was having a great run, a great battle there for 7th through 9th there before he ran into trouble.
Yeah, it was a fun battle to watch between themselves, and I think we're going to get another round of Patinko versus Patrick Hernandez, as Hernandez is now less than a second away for 10th place. But, you know, with the way Corder was running, it was so much fun watching that blast for battle for 7th, but unfortunately will not finish out the way that the 4 was hoping for. We'll take 13th here tonight, but each lap that ticks away, 6 about to be 5, as our leader continues to drive on by of Gavin Rogers. But this battle has been a fun one to watch. Evan Patinko, Patrick Hernandez. Patrick Hernandez is slowly catching up, even with the damage that was collected. Both of these drivers continue to pressure and put so much speed forward, but it's the 91 that looks to be the faster one of these two.
Hernandez looks to be a little bit quicker in the car that's been inside the top 10 for most of the race until that second stage where he got a little bit loose out of turn number 1, sent him to the back of the field. Hasn't really been able to work his way back up through the field as quickly as I think he would like, but catching up to Patinko here in the 96 as Evan looks a little bit loose here on the corner exits, and right here into 1, a good chance for Hernandez to maybe look to the inside, but doesn't do it, but closes right up to the rear bumper then of the 96 as they exit turn number 1.
Able to get a better center and apex point was the 91 machine, but because of how close they were off the exit, had to back off, losing the run up at the bottom of the S's, heading to the top. Slight rumble strip for Patinko. Patinko is really using the rumble strips, and that is not always the safest place to be. But Hernandez will have to wait another lap unless there's a mistake here. Entry into the bus stop. Hard braking zone for both, and very close to that outside wall was the 96 machine. Braking wide to keep it off the grass is going to be Hernandez. With 4 laps to go, this is going to be a blast to the end, because you know this 91 has been the faster driver, but since he's closed in this close, looks like maybe the dirty air playing a little bit of a bigger factor now.
Dirty air playing a little bit of a factor, trying to time your braking zones and the runs to get a good run on the 96 as well. Going to be playing a major role in this. He got right to the rear bumper again down there into 7. Going to run down here into 8, but can he get the drive off? Almost gets to the rear bumper of the 96. Going to have to lift a little bit, Sam, and that's going to hurt his momentum here heading into turn number 1.
Was trying to take the outside run, just was not able to. Got too close to the grass, and instead, Evan Patinko goes extremely defensive and too defensive for his own doing, and it's just going to give up the pass right there. Patrick Hernandez cruising on by, takes the lead as they go up through the S's, and now for Evan Patinko, he needs a major mistake from Hernandez here as they enter the bus stop, but I mean, that was such an overzealous protective line. That was just too much of a shallow entry going into turn 1. He was not going to stick that in any way.
Yeah, great thought. Poor execution there from Patinko, trying to make that block. Taking the line away, yes, good idea. Just got in a little bit too deep there into 1, runs way wide and gives that position up to Hernandez. And I think, Sam, it's going to be tough for him to try to get that 10th position back from that 91 machine with coming to 3 laps to go.
Slides once again is going to be Evan Patinko, but still within a second, so if there is a mistake, there's a chance to gain it back. But with 3 laps to go, and now the gap almost up to 12 seconds, Gavin Rogers sits comfortable up front. No one else is close enough for a battle. The 77 recognizing just a couple of more laps to go before he will win here at Watkins Glen and grab his 8th win of the season, go 8 for 14. And he is now going to be able to get by Rusty Sanchez that just gets out of the way. And with 2 more laps to go, Gavin Rogers, he's ran so many seasons with us, and he's had so many chances to get a Freaky Fast Broadcasting Grand Slam. And tonight, he could finally grab that award that he's been searching for so long.
Yeah, has a chance to do it tonight. Dominated stage 1, dominated stage 2, pretty much just dominated the whole race. I think he's led every lap, but I think maybe 2. And those were the 2 that the 38 of Jamie Plurd led under caution there, Sam, at stage 2 when he just took fuel only. But it's been pure dominance from Gavin Rogers here tonight from practice all the way into the race.
Fastest during practice, got the pole, 1 stage 1, 1 stage 2. You thought maybe Jamie Plurd could cause a little bit of a wrench in this quest for the Freaky Fast Broadcasting Grand Slam, but was not even a tough battle. Was given up turn 1 on the restart. And now the 77 just coming up to a lap to go before he can be crowned a winner once again this season. Again, trying to grab his 8th win, trying to go for his 12th top 5, 12th top 10, and just continuing to show how dominant this 77 is at all types of racing courses. And cuff the exit of turn number 8. Gavin Rogers looks up to the flag stand. It's the Freaky Fast Broadcasting white flag for Gavin Rogers as he goes down into turn number 1. This Autism Speaks 125 machine is cruising for victory as he just has to hit his marks as he has no lap traffic ahead and no competitions close behind.
6 more corners for Gavin to go to complete the Grand Slam and complete a dominant day here today at Watkins Glen. And Sam can pretty much coast to victory now, about 13 seconds back to his teammate Adam Buzzio there in second for the 77 machine. I think this is kind of what he envisioned tonight. Got the pole and has been dominant from the drop of the green flag.
Yeah, I mean, for Gavin Rogers, he saw his teammate Seymour Bell actually grab the Grand Slam last week at Talladega. It was kind of incredible to see, and Gavin was kind of frustrated it wasn't him first of this collection of drivers that run here at the BRB Butt Cup Kicker Cup Series. But he didn't have to wait very long after his teammate did it last week at Talladega. The points leader coming into the chase and into the playoffs. It continues to gain and grow and also will become a Freaky Fast Broadcasting Grand Slam winner. Your Autism Speaks winner for the 125. Give it to Gavin Rogers in the 77. Congratulations to Gavin Rogers. The gap over 12.5 seconds. And Adam Buzzio, Stephen Borbell, the teammates, will be happy with that finish as they're pretty equal distance between the 5 and the 2 to their teammate of Gavin Rogers up front. 1, 2, 3 for the teammates, and what a sweep for themselves.
Yeah, great run from that team, and a great drive from Rogers. Buzzio pretty much ran second all night long, and Borbell, a great recovery. We saw the contact he had with Hughes there toward the end of stage 2, Sam, but a great drive back up through the field for him to come home in third.
Absolutely impressive by all these drivers and the way they were able to finish out this race, as only able to have 12 drivers finish out here tonight, but Gavin Rogers will be taking the crown here this evening. Congratulations to Gavin Rogers as he, again, will continue to balloon out his win and points lead heading into next week as the drivers will head to the Lady in Black at Darlington. But for us, we are going to step away. When we come back, it's the post-race show. We'll talk to our top three, get their thoughts on tonight, and we'll also get prepared for next week's race at Darlington. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting for the post-race show, the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. It's the first race of the chase, and already our points leader coming into tonight makes that lead even bigger, as your victor is going to be the 77 Gavin Rogers, winner of the Autism Speaks 125, and finally able to say that he's a Freaky Fast Broadcasting Grand Slam victor as well. Gavin, didn't want to let your teammate have that for too long. You grab it yourself a week after. How are you feeling after the pure dominance you showed here tonight?
And I'll tell you what, I am so relieved after that. I was having a lot of USB problems. I think it was part of the stage 2 run. My shifter got disconnected and my whole screen froze. I just had to unplug it and plug it back in. Luckily, I resumed back where I was and I didn't lose a ton of time. I still held the lead, but just at the end of that final stage, last about 10 laps or so, my headset started to going in and out, and then I had a small freeze, but nothing too crazy. I was just really trying to hope it could hold on the computer and just get to the finish, and it finally did. Just so happy to get that grand slam and win it in a race that we're sponsoring with Autism Awareness. I'm doing this for my two brothers who both have autism. Gage and Hudson, they're both on the card tonight. Also have Adam and Steven both with autism paint skin, the team 123, which is freaking awesome. But I want to shout out my two brothers real quick and just say they've put in so much work with therapy, and they're going a long way. They're very smart kids, and they deserve everything in the world. And I'm real happy to do this for them.
It's a great cause that you guys have sponsoring this race and having it on your team's cars. Your team goes 1, 2, 3 here tonight. How is the team feeling after a performance like that, and a great way to start the chase and the playoffs off?
Oh, we're feeling great, but we got 4 more races left. Anything can happen. We got to stay focused, put in all the practice, as much practice as we put in this last week so far for the Glen. I think we've really got it together when it comes to practice and working with each other. And I think as long as we don't have any hiccups in the way, I think we really got a good shot in getting a team 1, 2, 3 in the points.
Well, you grab your 8th win this season. Watkins Glen is now out of the way. Darlington's our next playoff race. So what's the confidence level heading to the Lady in Black?
And I'll tell you what, that's my favorite track. That's not a road course, at least. I really love Darlington. It's a very technical track. You got to go and roll low, shoot it real deep into turn 1, run high and cut low. It's just everything you got to do. It's definitely not an easy track, and I love how it runs, and I feel real good going into there. I just hope we can pull off a good finish and stay ahead.
Well, Gavin, again, congratulations on the Grand Slam and winning here tonight. Great way to start off the chase. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any more shout-outs.
Absolutely. We want to shout out all the league sponsors, first of all, Sundance Pizza, Idealist, Trivista, and Butt Kicker. We couldn't do it without them, and also can't do it without our great admin team. We got such a great admin team, and me, Carl, Richard, Steven, Adam, Rev, Nick, Mason. There's so many people that put in a lot of work into this, and real blessed to have these guys. Also want to shout out all my family, my 2 brothers especially, Gage and Hudson. Shout out to everyone watching at home, and shout out you guys as well for doing the broadcast. We couldn't do without you.
Well, thanks for giving us a great show to cover. That'll be your winner here tonight for the Autism Speaks 125, the 77 of Gavin Rogers. Congratulations, Gavin. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Darlington.
Appreciate it, boys.
As we move from victory lane, we go down to second place to a driver that was hoping maybe for a little bit more here tonight, but knew the absolute mountain he had to climb. We got Adam Buzzio with us. Adam, second place, in a pretty comfortable second place with where you finished. How are you feeling after your run here this evening?
Hey guys, feeling great about it. Like you said, I knew there was a mountain ahead of me, and considering how dominant Gavin's been here in the past and how fast he is, I'm honestly really proud of how long I was able to stick with him.
I mean, Adam, tonight, teammates, we go 1, 2, 3. Great run for yourself. I said the same thing to Gavin, but how are yourself and the team feeling after a performance like here tonight to start the chase like you guys just did?
We feel really good about it, man. All 3 of us put in a ton of practice for this. Watkins Glen is strange. It seems like every time we come back here for a new season, the track's a little bit different. I remember, maybe 2 or 3 seasons ago where you could do a low 110 and high 109, you know what I mean, as far as a lap time goes. But really proud of it. We were just talking in the team chat, it's easy to kind of take these for granted sometimes, so it's nice to enjoy it. And it's a special race. It's a autism awareness race, and that's close to Gavin's heart, so it's nice to be able to close it out like this.
Well, like I said, this is the start of the playoffs and for the chase. How are you feeling for next week? Darlington's the next challenge that's on our list.
I like Darlington. It's an unforgiving racetrack, though. It's easy to get caught up in mistakes that aren't your own. So qualifying is going to be important. I'm going to try to focus on making sure we got good track position to start the race and just try to keep it.
We can't wait to see how yourself and your teammates perform. Adam, congratulations on second place, and the floor is now yours for any more shout-outs.
Yeah, of course, I want to thank you guys at Freaky Fast for everything you do. You guys have the best broadcast in the business, and we're grateful and proud to have you as a partner here. I want to thank Butt Kicker, Sundance Pizza, Trivista, and Idealist for all their sponsor support in our league. Thank my teammates Gavin, Steven, and Roger. Oh my gosh, Gavin, Steven, and that's it. I only have 2 teammates. Sorry, guys. I got a foot cramp halfway through that, so I'm a little distracted. And thank my wife, Julie.
Well, we'll let you go worry about your foot cramp there, Adam. Congratulations on a second place finish. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Darlington.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Well, from second place, we go down to third. A little bit more of an adventurous story that this two machine had to go through. Started back in sixth, able to move up to third. Some great passes had to be made. A couple of bumps and bruises also on the way to this finish. We got Stephen Borbell with us. Stephen, a little bit harder than last week's win. You came away third here tonight. How are you feeling with the third place finish?
I'm satisfied with it. Can't be too upset. Qualifying was a little rougher than I thought it was going to be. I knew I had some speed. In practice all week, I was roughly a couple tenths behind Adam most of the time, so I knew I can hang in there a little bit. But didn't qualify where I wanted, and then it was so difficult to pass at times, and just trying to be patient as I can and methodically work my way up through the field. But overall, I mean, to come home third with the team 1, 2, 3, very excited.
Very solid finish for the team. You kind of know I got to bring it up. Coming to the end of stage 2, what was going on there between yourself and Jared entering that bus stop?
So Jared and I are really close, and we get along really well. And I apologized on the radio. I guess I sent it in a little bit deep trying to get the position, and I thought he was going to back off because at the time I think I was a little bit ahead of him. But he said he locked it up, and we just got into each other. It's just part of the bus stop, especially when you go in side by side when you haven't been necessarily practicing it or doing anything around a car going into the bus stop. It's really easy to collide because you just come together right there. And I mean, no hard feelings. It's part of Watkins Glen, and got to recover from it, thankfully. So that's all good.
Certainly was looked to be a fun, tough battle. You came into tonight second in points. It's got to be pretty close between yourself and Adam after tonight's race. But how are you feeling going into Darlington next week, knowing that Gavin Rogers' points lead grows even more going into Darlington?
Man, it's such a daunting task each week trying to catch up to Gavin, not even just standings wise, but on the track. And I know Darlington's another one of his it's probably one of his best ovals. So I know we have our work cut out for us. But I'm just ready to be off of road courses. I'm not a road course fan. Get me back on an oval. Darlington's fine. And I know Adam and I are going to have a cutthroat battle for second, at least for the short term. And hopefully we can do something to test Gavin in the coming weeks.
Can't wait to see that. Well, Stephen, before we officially let you go, the floor is now yours for any more shout outs.
Yeah, I just want to shout out y'all for your amazing broadcast and helping us out. My fiance Addison, my family and friends that support me. My teammates Adam and Gavin and myself for 1, 2, 3. I think that's our third or fourth time this season doing that, so that's awesome. Super excited, super happy for us, and also with all of our matching paint schemes of the Autism Speaks race, it was really good to get a good finish together. But thank you all again.
Well, thanks for giving us a great show to watch. That will be your third place finisher in the 2 machine of Stephen Borbell. Congratulations on a top 3 finish, and good luck next week at Darlington.
Thank you guys. Hope to talk to you then.
Hope to as well. As we'll move away from our top 3, we get to take a look at our unofficial results here tonight. As the field, a couple of drivers finished where they were hoping maybe not to, but we know who got the top spot. Gavin Rogers, we knew was going to be the top contender, and one that we had a feeling was going to get the win here tonight. Comes away with the victors, that 77 machine. Adam Buzzio going to come away with second. Steve Borbell going to finish in third. The teammates finish 1, 2, 3. Jared Hughes, great recovery run for the 98 after his contact with the 2 machine at the end of stage 2. Comes away in fourth. Jamie Plord, even with his contact with Carl Poulard, even before the race started, able to come away with fifth. Sixth goes to Richard Wolsifer. Dustin Stalling had a couple of spins, but he'll take seventh. Eighth goes to Brandon Maddox. Carl Poulard, even with his nose damage, runs in ninth. And finishing out our top 10, it's the 91 of Patrick Hernandez. But the rest of the field, those 3-4 drivers at the end, not the way they wanted to finish this race, but they'll take what they can get. It was a tough run deeper in the field for this crew here. Trevor, for these drivers.
Yeah, tough run back there for Nicholas Renner. We saw him get loose and call it a night early on. Same thing with Zachary King, Matthew quarter battling there for seventh, 8th, and 9th at one point before he got into the wall and unfortunately ruined his night. But Sam, overall, a great race, dominant race from Gavin Rogers. But we saw great battling throughout the field for third at one point, just outside the top 5 at other points in the race. So battling throughout the field, but a dominant performance from that team as a whole as they get a 1, 2, 3 here tonight.
They've been the top team since the start of the season. They continue to show it. Again, next week going to be the Second race of 5 in the chase for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. But for future races that you'd maybe like to watch, our upcoming schedule, we've got some great racing action as a new round for the WSSR begins. Iowa tomorrow night for the Gen 4 machines, as that will be the start of the round of 11, as we just got done with the round of 16. Then on Thursday night, we have the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series heading to Auto Club with the open setup, next gen vehicles. It has been a blast to watch. Those guys put on a fabulous show every Thursday night. Do not want to miss out on it. For Monday, though, the ISRC Truck Series, they're actually going to be taking Monday off as for that group. So we will be seeing them in 2 weeks for the ISRC Truck Series. But for the BRB Cup Series, we'll be back next week. Excited for more racing action. And Trevor, I got to say, it's been a pleasure to have you back in the booth. It's been a while. I know Zach's had to cover for you for our first 2 races with these guys, but it's been a pleasure to have you up in the booth once again on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Had a little bit of a life event happen where I moved, but all settled in now, good to go, and happy to be back up in the booth with you and Robert running production, and looking forward to getting the last handful of races done with these guys and seeing what they're going to put on for us next week when we get to Darlington.
Excited for it. More playoff racing action going to be next week. But for tonight, thank you to everyone that watched with us, everyone that chatted, and everyone that liked our stream. If you're liking our broadcast that we give you, remember to hit that subscribe button and as well the bell notification button to be notified when we go live 4 times a week. We want to see everyone in here when we can, as well as go down and comment. What is your favorite moment of the race? We'd love to get your thoughts on how the racing action has been going, or maybe your favorite just moment in general of the broadcast. But for us here tonight, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Trevor Earhart, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us. We'll see you next week for more BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series action. But if you want to see some racing action before next week, we got you covered. Tomorrow night, the start of a new round, the round of 11 for the WSSR Gen 4 Cup Series. We'll see you then. Iowa, our next Freaky Fast broadcast.